Someone in your life is draining you right now. Not with punches, not with insults, silently, invisibly. And the most terrifying part, you already feel it. You just don't have the language to name it yet. You walk away from certain people and feel like you've run a marathon without moving a single step. Your chest is tight. Your mind is foggy. Your energy gone. And you tell yourself, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Stop. Right there. Carl Jung spent decades mapping the hidden architecture of the human psyche. The parts of us that operate beneath logic, beneath language, beneath everything we think we know about ourselves. And one of the most urgent warnings he left behind was this: not every person who enters your life comes to add to it. Some come to feed from it. And they will feed from you quietly, patiently, and completely, unless you learn to recognize what they are. This video is not about becoming paranoid. It is not about building walls and shutting the world out. It is about something far more precise: becoming conscious. Because Jung believed that the moment you make the unconscious conscious, the moment you see clearly what was always operating in the shadows, everything changes. You stop calling it bad luck. You stop calling it fate. You start calling it what it is: a pattern you now have the power to break. By the time this video ends, you will be able to look at the people around you with entirely different eyes. You will recognize the signals your body has been sending you for years, signals you were taught to ignore. And you will understand, perhaps for the first time, why protecting your energy is not selfishness. It is survival. Let's begin. We live inside a constant, invisible exchange. Every single person you encounter carries an energetic field, a frequency, a vibration, a psychological gravity. Some people pull you upward. Their presence alone fills you with clarity, warmth, and momentum. You leave a conversation with them feeling sharper, lighter, more alive. Others do the exact opposite. You can't always explain it. There's no obvious cruelty, no visible wound, but something about being near them leaves you hollowed out, depleted, heavier than when you arrived. Carl Jung illuminated these invisible layers of human interaction with extraordinary precision. His framework gives us the tools to understand not just what is happening on the surface of our relationships, but what is happening in the depths, in the unconscious currents that most people never examine. And here is where we must begin, with the body. Your body knows things your rational mind refuses to accept. Long before your conscious mind can analyze and conclude, your nervous system has already registered the truth. That tightness in your chest when you see a certain name light up your phone. That faint nausea when you walk into a room where someone particular is standing. That inexplicable weight that settles on your shoulders the moment a specific person sits down beside you. Jung described this as the wisdom of the collective unconscious, the vast reservoir of inherited human experience that lives beneath our individual awareness. This is not mysticism. This is not superstition. It is the accumulated survival intelligence of thousands of generations encoded into your nervous system. Your ancestors survived because they could read danger before it announced itself. That same intelligence lives in you. Jung explained that intuition is not a feeling invented by the imagination. It is the psyche's capacity to grasp information that the conscious mind has not yet fully processed. Your brain reads micro-expressions on a face in milliseconds. It registers subtle shifts in vocal tone, deviations in body language, inconsistencies in energy. All of this is processed beneath consciousness and delivered back to you as a physical sensation. A constriction in your throat, a tightening across your sternum, a vague unease that seems to have no rational source. That sensation is not weakness. That sensation is data. Years ago, I was introduced to someone through a mutual connection. First impressions were flawless, warm, articulate, socially skilled. Everything on the surface appeared fine. But from the very first encounter, something in my body refused to settle. A low-grade alarm that I could not explain and could not silence. I told myself I was tired, told myself I was projecting. I dismissed it for months. Every time we parted ways, I felt as if something had been extracted from me. Not taken loudly, quietly. The way a slow leak drains a tank. You don't notice until it's nearly empty. Over time, the inconsistencies began to surface. The stories that shifted between retellings. The relentless negativity about everyone else in their life. The permanent posture of victimhood that never, not once, turned inward toward self-examination. And in that moment of recognition, Jung's words landed with the full weight of truth. Energy does not lie. Most people override these early, subtle signals. The rational mind demands evidence. They haven't actually done anything wrong, we tell ourselves. I'm probably overreacting. But this is one of the most costly mistakes a person can make. Because the most sophisticated energy drains do not announce themselves. They operate slowly, incrementally, beneath the threshold of conscious detection. Like being pulled into a marsh, you don't realize how deep you are until moving becomes difficult. So how do you identify someone who is consuming your energy? What are the precise signals that tell you this person is not filling you, they are emptying you? Here are the signs you cannot afford to ignore. The first sign: every conversation orbits their suffering. It doesn't matter how the exchange begins, with lightness, with humor, with genuine goodwill on your part. Within minutes, the gravitational center of the conversation has shifted. Their problems, their grievances, their drama. The list of people who have wronged them. The endless catalog of circumstances working against them. And, crucially, no desire for resolution. No curiosity about solutions. Only the need to discharge. What is actually happening in these interactions is a form of emotional offloading. They are not talking to you. They are using you as a vessel. And without realizing it, you are absorbing their emotional weight as if it were your own. By the time the conversation ends, you carry what they arrived with, and they walk away lighter, having transferred the burden entirely onto you. You become, in the most literal psychological sense, their emotional landfill. Notice how you feel in the hours after these exchanges. Not just during, after. If a consistent pattern of exhaustion, heaviness, and low-grade hopelessness follows conversations with a specific person, that pattern is not coincidence. That is information. If this pattern sounds familiar, if you recognize someone in your life who always leaves you carrying their weight, drop the number 11 in the comments. In Jungian psychology, the moment of first recognition, the instant the unconscious pattern becomes visible to the conscious mind, is the true beginning of transformation. That moment is now. The second sign. They weaponize your guilt when you choose yourself. The moment you establish a boundary, the moment you say, "I need time for myself," or "I can't take this call right now," or simply choose to rest, something shifts in them. They don't necessarily say anything explicit. It's subtler than that. A heavy sigh, a particular silence, a look that communicates abandonment without ever using the word. The quiet withdrawal of warmth that lasts precisely long enough for you to notice, to feel responsible, and to reverse your decision. This is not accidental. This is a deeply practiced mechanism, and in many cases, it operates entirely outside their conscious awareness. They have learned, perhaps across a lifetime, that guilt is the most reliable lever for getting their needs met. They pull it without thinking, and you respond without thinking. The cycle continues. Jung's concept of the shadow is critical here. The shadow is the collection of everything within us that we refuse to acknowledge. The parts we've buried, denied, disowned. For people who drain others, their shadow often contains their own enormous neediness, their terror of abandonment, their deep belief that they are not enough to be loved freely, only through obligation. They cannot face these truths directly. So instead, they arrange their external world to confirm that they are needed, that you cannot function without them, that leaving would be an act of cruelty. What they call love is often ownership. What they call care is often control. Here is the truth Jung would want you to hear. Claiming your time is not betrayal. Choosing rest is not rejection. Saying no is not violence. These are the most basic acts of self-respect, and anyone who consistently makes you feel otherwise is not protecting you. They are feeding from you. The third sign, their absence feels like relief. This one is perhaps the most telling, and the most uncomfortable to admit. When you part ways with someone you genuinely love, there is an absence, a warmth you miss, a space that feels incomplete until they return. That is the natural texture of real connection. But with certain people, the dominant sensation upon separation is not longing. It is relief. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing deepens. Your mind, which had been running through fog, suddenly clears. You didn't realize how much cognitive and emotional bandwidth you were spending simply by being near them, until the weight lifts and you feel the difference. This is not something you invent. This is your nervous system returning to its natural equilibrium after sustained compression. The contrast is the signal. Jung taught that the psyche always seeks wholeness. When something in our environment is fundamentally incompatible with our growth, our psyche registers that incompatibility, even when our conscious mind is still rationalizing, still making excuses, still trying to make it work. The relief you feel when certain people leave is not cruelty. It is your deeper self telling you something your surface mind has been resisting. Their absence being more nourishing than their presence is one of the clearest signals the unconscious can send. Now we must examine the deeper psychological machinery beneath these patterns, because understanding why certain people operate this way transforms how you respond to them. According to Jung, when individuals fail to confront their own shadow, the buried fears, the unexamined wounds, the denied impulses, that shadow does not disappear. It projects outward. It gets mapped onto other people. What they cannot accept within themselves, they begin to see in you. Their own chaos becomes your alleged instability. Their own cruelty becomes your alleged sensitivity. Their own failures become evidence of your inadequacy. Energy-draining individuals are, in most cases, people who have never learned to generate their own internal light. The emptiness inside them is real, but instead of turning inward to address it, they have learned to reach outward, to borrow light from others, to fill the hollow places within themselves with energy extracted from the people around them. This extraction is rarely conscious. Most of them do not wake up each morning with deliberate predatory intent. They are operating from patterns established long before they had the capacity to examine them. This does not make the impact on you any less real. It does not mean you are obligated to remain within reach. Understanding the mechanism is not the same as accepting the damage. This brings us to one of the most psychologically sophisticated forms of energy extraction: gaslighting. Gaslighting is a manipulation tactic in which a person systematically causes another to question their own perception of reality, the reliability of their memory, and the validity of their emotional responses. It is, in essence, a sustained attack on your inner authority. And it is far more common than most people recognize, because it rarely looks like what we imagine manipulation looks like. Jung's concept of projection provides the clearest framework for understanding how gaslighting operates at its root. The gaslighter projects their own unacceptable qualities outward. If they are the one who is selfish, they will insist that you are. If they are the one who is dishonest, they will construct elaborate narratives about your deceptions. If they are the one creating chaos, they will position you as the source of instability. And because these accusations arrive with absolute conviction, because they believe their own projections, they are extraordinarily difficult to resist. Here are the specific markers of gaslighting, The patterns that should immediately signal that something is being done to your reality, not revealed within it. The first marker. They rewrite history with complete confidence. What they said last week, they deny having said. What they did last month, they insist never happened. And when you point to the discrepancy, the response is never curiosity or openness. It is immediate counter-accusation. You're confused. You're remembering it wrong. You're being dramatic. The goal is not to resolve the disagreement. The goal is to make you uncertain about your own capacity to accurately perceive and remember. The second marker. They systematically invalidate your emotional experience. When you are hurt, the response is, "You're too sensitive." When you are angry, it's, "You're overreacting." When you are joyful about something, there is a subtle deflation, a way of reducing the significance of what you're feeling until the emotion itself seems embarrassing. Over time, this trains you to distrust your own inner life, to seek external permission before allowing yourself to feel. If you have ever found yourself wondering whether your own emotions are appropriate, whether you are allowed to feel what you feel, drop 444 in the comments. That question is not natural. That question was installed. And the fact that you're now examining it means the unconscious is beginning to speak. The third marker. They work to sever your connections. The people in your life who offer alternative perspectives, independent observations, outside support, these people represent a threat to the gaslighter's control over your reality. So quietly, methodically, they begin to erode your trust in those relationships. That friend doesn't really understand you. Your family has their own agenda. The people you turn to for support are actually speaking badly about you when you're not present. Each suggestion is designed to narrow your world until the gaslighter becomes your primary and eventually sole source of information about reality. The fourth marker. You consistently leave conversations more confused than you entered them. You approached the exchange hoping for clarity, for resolution, for understanding. Instead, you emerge with your own perception further destabilized. You cannot locate the truth. You cannot remember what actually happened. You feel simultaneously guilty and wronged, responsible and victimized, uncertain about everything except your own inadequacy. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The recognition of gaslighting, of seeing the mechanism for what it is precisely this act of making the unconscious conscious. It is the moment you stop calling it fate and start calling it a pattern. And patterns, once seen, can be interrupted. So how do you protect yourself? How do you rebuild the boundary between what belongs to you and what is being placed onto you? 4 principles, each one drawn from the core of Jungian psychology. The first, trust your body before you trust your logic. That discomfort you feel in someone's presence, before you have a single piece of rational evidence, is not paranoia. It is information. Your nervous system is processing frequencies that your conscious mind has not yet named. Stop overriding it. Stop waiting for proof before you allow yourself to respond to what your body already knows. The rationalization, "they haven't actually done anything wrong," is one of the most dangerous sentences a person can tell themselves, because it privileges explicit evidence over accumulated somatic knowing. Listen to the tightness. Listen to the fatigue. Listen to the relief. The second, establish boundaries and inhabit them without apology. You are not required to be the emotional landfill of every person who needs one. Saying no is not an act of aggression. It is an act of self-definition. The guilt that rises when you decline, when you step back, when you choose yourself, examine that guilt closely. Ask where it came from. Ask who installed it. Because guilt that arrives reliably whenever you prioritize your own well-being is not your conscience speaking. It is conditioning. And conditioning can be unlearned. Other people's chaos is not your responsibility to absorb. Other people's wounds are not yours to carry. You can have compassion for someone's suffering without offering yourself as the remedy. The third, anchor yourself in your own perception of reality. If you lived something, you lived it. If you felt something, you felt it. The insistence of another person, no matter how confident, no matter how forceful, cannot retroactively unmake your experience. One of the most important things you can do when your reality is being questioned is to seek out other trustworthy witnesses, not to build a case, not to argue, but to ground yourself in the simple confirmation that what you experienced was real. The perspectives of people who know you, who have no investment in distorting your reality, are extraordinarily stabilizing when your inner ground is being deliberately destabilized. The fourth, recognize projection for what it is and refuse to wear it. When someone accuses you of a quality that does not genuinely belong to you, the conditioned response is immediate self-examination, immediate guilt, immediate scrambling to disprove the accusation. Resist this. Perform honest self-inquiry. Genuinely ask whether there is truth in what is being said. But if the honest answer is no, then understand clearly that accusation is not a revelation about your character. It is a disclosure about theirs. They are showing you with complete accuracy what lives unexamined within themselves. That is their work to do, not yours to absorb. Drop 33 in the comments if you are ready to stop carrying weight that was never yours. In Jungian terms, 33 represents the threshold of conscious transformation, the point at which a person stops being shaped by unconscious forces and begins deliberately to shape themselves. And now, the final category, perhaps the most insidious, certainly the most painful, because these are the people who are supposed to be closest to you. Hidden envy, concealed resentment, the quiet, systematic dimming of your light by the hands of people who smile while they do it. These individuals do not wish you harm in any way they would acknowledge openly. In many cases, they genuinely believe they want good things for you, but only up to a certain point, only as long as your good fortune does not exceed theirs. only as long as your growth does not make their stagnation visible. The moment you begin to rise, the moment your momentum becomes undeniable, something shifts in them. The warmth cools. The support becomes conditional. The encouragement develops an edge. You cannot always see it immediately. It is designed not to be seen. Here are the signatures. They minimize your achievements rather than celebrating them. You share news of a success, a new role, a completed project, a significant milestone, and the response is muted. Careful, searching for the caveat. That's great, but won't the hours be difficult? Congratulations, though I heard the market for that is getting competitive. You got lucky with the timing. The accomplishment is acknowledged only in order to be immediately qualified, contextualized, or subtly undermined. The message, delivered with perfect plausible deniability, is, "This is not as significant as you think it is." They celebrate other people's wins with an enthusiasm they never extend to yours. You have seen them light up over the achievements of mutual acquaintances, genuine seeming delight, shared excitement, vocal pride. But when the success belongs to you, something is different. The response is measured. The warmth is absent. The subject changes faster than it should. This inconsistency is not accidental. It is the psyche's honest response escaping through the cracks of the performance. You hear things about yourself through others, quietly circulated opinions. You've changed. You think you're better than everyone now. You used to be more humble. These are not observations. They are the externalized form of the envier's internal experience. Their own sense of inadequacy, their own fear of being surpassed, being distributed as commentary about your character. And as you advance, as the gap between your trajectory and theirs becomes harder to ignore, they begin to withdraw. The calls become less frequent, the responses slower, the invitations fewer. Your light has become uncomfortable, not because you changed who you are, but because who you are now makes it harder for them to ignore who they have not yet become. Jung taught that envy is almost always a shadow phenomenon, a confrontation with one's own unlived potential, one's own abandoned possibilities, one's own unchosen paths. The person who cannot tolerate your brightness is not actually reacting to you. They are reacting to the version of themselves that your existence makes visible. The self that could have chosen differently, could have built something, could have become more. Your progress is a mirror, and some people, rather than examining what the mirror shows them, choose to break it. These are the most dangerous figures in a person's life, not because they are overtly cruel, but because they are intimate. They wear the face of friendship, of family, of love. They have access, and with that access, they administer a slow, consistent pressure that keeps you slightly smaller than you would otherwise be. They cannot survive your full expansion. So they work, often without realizing it, to prevent it. If you have recognized someone in your life as you read this, someone who smiles at your face and shrinks you behind your back, drop 777 in the comments, because naming what is happening is the first act of liberation. And this community was built for exactly this moment. Jung gave us this. Not comfort, not reassurance. A map of the forces operating beneath the surface of every relationship, every interaction, every connection you have ever formed. And the most important thing that map tells us is this: you are not at the mercy of these forces, not once you can see them. The person in your life who constantly offloads their emotional weight onto you, you can see them now. The one who weaponizes your guilt to keep you within reach, you can see them now. The one who quietly rewrites your reality until you cannot trust your own memory, you can see them now. The one who smiles at your progress while hoping, somewhere beneath the smile, that it stops, you can see them now. Seeing clearly is not cruelty. It is not coldness. It is not the abandonment of compassion. It is the prerequisite for genuine connection. Because you cannot truly connect with someone whose nature you refuse to acknowledge. You can only be consumed by them. The people who genuinely belong in your life, the ones who are worthy of your energy, your vulnerability, your trust, they are not threatened by your boundaries. They celebrate your growth without the shadow of envy. They confirm your reality rather than destabilize it. They leave you feeling more like yourself, not less. In their presence, you expand. You do not contract. That is the standard, not perfection, not the absence of difficulty, but a fundamental orientation toward your flourishing rather than your diminishment. Jung believed that the journey toward wholeness, individuation he called it, required the courage to see clearly, to see yourself clearly, to see others clearly, to stop projecting, stop denying, stop calling unconscious patterns by the comfortable name of fate. You have been given that clarity today. The question is not whether you now understand what has been happening. The question is what you choose to do with that understanding. Because knowledge without action is just another form of avoidance. And you did not watch this far to avoid. You watched this far because something in you is ready. Ready to stop absorbing what was never yours. Ready to stop explaining away what your body has been trying to tell you for years. Ready to stop giving the best of yourself to people who are incapable of honoring it. Protect your energy, not as an act of fear, not as an act of withdrawal from the world, but as an act of profound self-respect and as the necessary foundation for the kind of connection that actually nourishes both people involved. Carl Jung spent his life trying to wake people up to what was operating beneath the surface of their lives. This video is one small continuation of that work. You are now awake. What happens next is entirely up to you. You already know the feeling, that quiet heaviness you've been carrying, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, that you couldn't quite name. The confusion that followed you out of rooms, the exhaustion that had no visible source, the slow erosion of your own certainty about who you are and what you deserve. You were not broken. You were not weak. You were simply unaware of what was operating beneath the surface. And awareness, real awareness, the kind that changes how you move through the world, does not arrive loudly. It doesn't strike like lightning. It builds quietly. The way light enters a room, not all at once, but gradually, until you realize you can see everything clearly. That is what is beginning for you right now. Jung believed that most human suffering is not caused by circumstances. It is caused by unconsciousness, by the invisible patterns we carry without examining, the wounds we inherit without questioning, the dynamics we repeat without understanding why. The moment you begin to see those patterns, something fundamental shifts. Not because your external life changes overnight, but because you change. And when you change, what you attract, what you tolerate, and what you walk away from, all of it begins to reflect that change. This is not a promise. Nothing about genuine growth comes with guarantees. But here is what tends to happen when someone begins to see clearly. They stop spending energy in places that were always going to drain them. They stop explaining themselves to people who were never going to hear them. They stop shrinking to make others comfortable. And slowly, not all at once, but steadily, the space that was occupied by exhausting, consuming relationships begins to open up. And something different starts to move into that space. Better connections, quieter days, a sense of self that no longer depends on external validation to remain intact. You may be at the very beginning of this. You may have just named something today that you've been feeling for a long time. That is enough. That is exactly where it starts. The work ahead is not